The Deep Space Observatory Sentinel-7 hung silently in the blackness, orbiting a small, cold planet at the edge of the Helios expanse. Its vast arrays of telescopes and sensors reached far across the galaxy, observing stars, planets, and phenomena so distant that humans had only dreamed of them. Inside, Dr. Ilara Voss leaned over a console, eyes scanning the data streaming in. The numbers, graphs, and energy readings reflected years of study, but something today made her heart race. "Doctor, you might want to see this," called Rian Kepler. Her assistant, his voice tight with excitement. It's impossible." Ilara turned sharply. The display before them showed a star, a massive orange giant collapsing. But the collapse wasn't normal. Stars died every day in the galaxy, some exploding into supernovae, some fading quietly into white dwarfs. This was different. The star's energy signature was strange, patterned, deliberate, as if someone or something had caused it. She leaned closer, her hand hovering over the console. The numbers didn't lie. This was no natural collapse. Could it be an observational error? She asked, though her voice betrayed doubt. Rian shook his head. "I triple-checked the readings. The satellite data matches the ground arrays. This is real," Ilara swallowed. "Show me the waveform of the collapse." Rian complied, bringing up a 3D projection. The star's light bent and pulsed in ways that defied normal physics. Tiny bursts of energy seemed to spiral out of the star, almost like a signal embedded in the death throes of the massive sun. Her mind raced. That pattern, it's too precise. Stars don't die like this. Nothing in known physics explains it. Then someone or something is doing it, Rian whispered. Ilara felt a chill, not from the cold metal of the observatory, but from the thought itself. If it was deliberate, then the galaxy was far more alive, far more dangerous, and far more intelligent than they had imagined. She took a deep breath and activated a wider scan. Energy fluctuations like this could be dangerous. The collapsed star was still radiating immense power, and whatever had caused it might still be active. "Rian, prepare the communication link," she said. "We need to alert the Galactic Science Council. If this is deliberate, they need to know." Minutes later, a calm, professional voice answered. "Dr. Voss, your alert is received. Can you confirm that this is not a transient anomaly?" Ilara's fingers danced across the console. "We've confirmed it." The collapse was precise, calculated, and accompanied by energy pulses that suggest intelligence. "We are not looking at a natural event." There was silence on the other side. Then the voice said carefully, "Understood. Please maintain observation. We are dispatching additional probes to the area." Ilara exhaled slowly. Even as the council responded, she knew this was bigger than any probe, any observation. Humanity had just glimpsed something that might change everything. The observatory was quiet again. The hum of the systems and the faint buzz of electronics were the only sounds. Outside, the starfield glittered like scattered diamonds, but among them lay the collapsed giant, now a dim, smoldering remnant. And hidden in its light pulses was a message, or perhaps a challenge. Rian leaned back in his chair. "Do you think it's a warning?" Ilara shook her head slowly. "I don't know yet. But I do know one thing: we have to find out. If this is intelligence, we need to understand it before it understands us." She stood and walked to the viewport, staring at the vast emptiness beyond. The galaxy stretched endlessly, dark and mysterious. For millennia, humanity had looked up at the stars with wonder. Now they had a reason to be wary. The observatory's alert systems began to flash again, signaling incoming data from the probes the council had sent. The streams of information were enormous, far beyond what one person could read. Ilara activated the AI assistant Solus. "To help analyze the signals, Solus," she said, "filter the incoming data for energy anomalies similar to the collapse." "Yes, Doctor," the AI responded in its calm, precise voice. "Filtering now." "Probability of additional anomalies in the sector, 82%. Ilara's eyes widened. 82%? That's significant, Rian frowned. "So this might not be a single incident. Someone could be manipulating multiple stars. Or testing something. Testing what?" Ilara muttered. The idea seemed insane, yet the evidence kept pointing in one direction. The analysis continued through the night, the two scientists barely sleeping as the patterns emerged. The AI highlighted multiple stars showing faint controlled fluctuations, miniature collapses, energy bursts, signals embedded in the dying light. Each was faint, but the pattern was unmistakable, deliberate, intelligent, and systematic. Ilara felt a mix of awe and fear. Humanity had long assumed it was small in the universe, a fledgling species among many. But if someone or something was capable of manipulating stars, humans were nothing by comparison. And yet, her stomach tightened with a different emotion. Curiosity, determination. The spark that had driven explorers for centuries was alive in her chest. "We need to see it for ourselves," she said quietly. "We need to get there." Ryan's eyes widened. "Are you suggesting—" "Yes," she interrupted, her voice firm. "I'm suggesting we prepare an exploratory mission. If this is intelligent, if this is a message, then we can't just observe. We have to approach. We have to understand. And humanity is capable of more than anyone realizes." The words hung in the air, heavy with both excitement and danger. Humanity had always faced the unknown and found ways to overcome it. From the first explorers who sailed across oceans to the engineers who built the first spacecraft, humans had never let fear stop them. And now the stars themselves were calling. The Council approved the mission within hours. A small fleet of scout vessels equipped with the latest AI navigation systems and reinforced shields was assembled. Scientists, engineers, and explorers from across human colonies volunteered, eager to be part of what could be the most important journey in human history. As the fleet prepared for departure, Ilara walked once more to the viewport. The collapsed star glimmered faintly, its light bending and twisting in ways that made her heart race. Somewhere in that chaos was a pattern, a signal, and perhaps even a mind watching humanity for the first time. Ryan joined her silently, watching the star as well. "Do you think it knows we're coming?" Ilara didn't answer immediately. She wasn't sure. But she felt something stirring deep inside, a certainty that humanity, with all its flaws and all its courage, had a chance to meet whatever waited in the darkness and prove that it belonged among the stars. "Maybe it does," she finally said. "And maybe that's exactly why it's worth going." The fleet launched days later, cutting through the void at speeds that made light years seem small. On board each ship, humans stared at the deep black, listening to the faint signals from the collapsed star, signals that seemed almost alive. And somewhere in the patterns of dying light, the universe had noticed them too. As the fleet approached the coordinates of the collapse, Ilara reviewed the data one last time. The star's signature was still there, faint but deliberate. The message was clear, even if they did not yet understand it. The universe was not random, and humans were about to step into something far greater than themselves. And in that moment, as the first stars of a distant system came into view, humanity felt the weight of both danger and potential, the thrill of discovery, and the knowledge that they had been called to a stage far larger than anyone had imagined. Somewhere, far beyond comprehension, a machine or a mind watched. And for the first time it noticed humans not just as observers, but as participants in a story that was only beginning. The fleet of human scout ships glided silently through the void, each vessel gleaming with polished hulls and humming with the soft energy of advanced propulsion systems. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the lead ship Odyssey, her eyes scanning the stars ahead. Around her, a small but skilled crew worked efficiently, each member focused on their duties. The collapse of the distant star still weighed heavily on her mind. Humanity had never faced anything like this. Ryan Kepler, her assistant and chief science officer, moved to her side. "Sensors are detecting unusual gravitational distortions ahead," he said. "Could be remnants of the collapsed star, or something else." Ilara studied the readings. The star system they were approaching was littered with debris, fragments of planets, shards of asteroids, and streams of charged particles still glowing faintly from the star's collapse. But the patterns were strange. The debris didn't scatter randomly, as it would in a normal collapse. Instead, it seemed arranged, almost as if guided by unseen hands. "Someone or something is organizing it," Ilara said quietly. Ryan nodded. "Exactly. And the energy readings indicate a presence, something massive. We need to be careful." The crew felt the tension immediately. Humans had explored space before, but this was different. They were not just observing. They were entering a system shaped by intelligence far beyond their understanding. The unknown stretched before them, and yet a thrill of discovery coursed through every member of the fleet. The first obstacle came sooner than expected. A dense field of metallic asteroids blocked the fleet's approach, spinning unpredictably in the gravity well of the collapsed star. Automatic shields flickered as the ships navigated the hazards. The human crews worked with practiced skill, guiding their vessels through the dangerous field. Adjusting trajectory by 2 degrees starboard, called Lieutenant Mara Chen, the Odyssey's navigator. If we go any closer too fast, we risk collision. Alara watched the shifting patterns of asteroids, her mind racing. Humanity had solved problems like this before using logic, skill, and quick thinking. Yet here the danger was greater. She trusted her crew. They had to trust themselves. As the ships passed through the field, a sudden pulse of energy surged across their sensors. Lights flickered on the consoles and alarms beeped softly. Ryan checked the data. "It's a signal," he said. "Faint but deliberate. It's coming from deeper within the system. Someone or something wants us to notice it." Alara's heart quickened. "Prepare a probe. We'll send it first. We don't know what's waiting for us." A small drone detached from the Odyssey, moving toward the source of the pulse. It transmitted live data back to the ship. The crew watched in amazement as the probe passed through a field of energy arcs, shimmering like invisible barriers. Somehow the probe navigated without damage, revealing structures floating among the debris. "Structures?" whispered Mara. "They're huge. Massive metallic, but not like anything built by humans." Alara leaned forward. The images were both terrifying and beautiful. Gigantic towers, geometric and precise, hung in orbit around what remained of the star. Energy flowed through them in patterns that defied natural physics, like rivers of light bending and twisting in impossible ways. "It's a machine," Ryan said, awe in his voice. "Something that manipulates stars. And maybe even planets. Look at the energy flow. It's controlled, directed. This is deliberate." The fleet continued toward the structures cautiously. As they drew closer, the energy pulses intensified. The crew could feel them through the subtle vibrations in the ship's hulls, a reminder that they were entering a place shaped by forces far beyond human experience. Suddenly, a wave of light passed through the fleet. It was not harmful, but it seemed to probe the ships, scanning their systems and even the crew. Lights on the bridge dimmed briefly, then returned to normal. "What was that?" asked Engineer Malik Torres, his hands steady on the console. Alara shook her head. "I don't know, but it's aware of us. It knows we're here." The tension on the bridge was palpable. Each crew member understood that they were no longer mere observers. They were participants in something much larger, a cosmic event designed by intelligence that had existed long before humanity had even walked on Earth. "Prepare for docking," Alara ordered. "We need to study these structures directly, but we proceed slowly. Nothing aggressive yet. Let's see what it wants us to see." The fleet approached one of the largest towers. Its surface shimmered like a mirror, reflecting the fragmented light of the collapsed star. Docking clamps extended from the Odyssey, attaching to the tower with precision. The rest of the fleet followed suit, forming a protective perimeter. Inside the tower, the crew found vast corridors of smooth metal, illuminated by streams of energy that flowed like liquid light. Ryan led the scientific team, scanning every surface for information. "This is incredible," he whispered. "Look at these circuits, they're planetary in scale. Whoever built this, they manipulate matter and energy on a scale we can barely imagine." Alara nodded. "And yet they left a signal for us. We're being observed. They want us to notice something." Hours passed as the human crew explored the tower. The structures seemed alive, reacting subtly to their presence. Lights shifted as they moved. Energy flows changed direction and faint hums echoed through the corridors. It was as if the machine was testing them, gauging their responses, evaluating their intentions. "Do you think it's friendly?" Mara asked quietly as they examined a chamber filled with pulsing energy spheres. Alara considered the question. "I don't know, but it's not attacking us. And that means it's aware of intelligence, aware enough to observe and communicate indirectly." That's a start. The team discovered more patterns in the energy flows, mathematical sequences embedded in the pulsing light. Ryan worked tirelessly, trying to decode them. Slowly, a message emerged. It was not words, but logic, physics, and geometry, an invitation for intelligent beings to understand the mechanics of this alien mind. "This is an education," Ryan said in awe. "It's showing us its work, teaching us how it manipulates stars and energy." Alara smiled faintly. "Then we're learning. That's why it noticed us. Humans are curious, adaptable, and persistent. That's what it wants to see. That's why it matters. As the crew worked, the structures themselves began to shift subtly. Halls elongated, energy streams reconfigured, and the very gravity within the towers changed. The crew adapted, moving carefully and using ingenuity to navigate each new challenge. In the observation chamber at the tower's core, Ilara watched the remnants of the collapsed star. Its light bent and pulsed, forming geometric patterns in space. Something or someone was orchestrating the chaos, turning destruction into art and perhaps sending a message to humanity. Rian approached, holding a display. "I think it's evaluating us," he said. "Every decision we make, every problem we solve. It's observing how humans respond. Our curiosity, our teamwork, our courage. It's all part of the test." Ilara's mind raced. The universe had always been dangerous, but it had never been personal. This was different. Now humans were being measured, not by strength or firepower or numbers, but by ingenuity and spirit. "We've always faced the unknown," she said softly. "From the first explorers who crossed oceans to the astronauts who left Earth, humans adapt. That's who we are. That's what we bring to the galaxy." Ryan nodded. "And maybe that's why it noticed us. Because we're capable of more than we realize." The tower pulsed with energy as if acknowledging her words. For the first time, the crew sensed something almost like awareness, something alive in the machine, watching and responding. Ilara took a deep breath. "We keep studying, we keep learning, and we keep moving forward. This is only the beginning. Whatever it wants from us, humanity is ready to meet it." Outside the tower, the fleet continued to observe. More signals pulsed from the remaining fragments of the collapsed star, and the structures above them hummed with power. The universe was no longer a distant spectacle. It was an active participant, challenging humans to prove themselves, to rise to a scale far beyond their history. As night fell across the void, Ilara stood once more at the observation deck of the Odyssey. The stars stretched endlessly in all directions, yet among them was a machine older than memory, manipulating matter and energy with precision. Humanity was small, fragile, and yet brilliant. They had curiosity, courage, and the ability to adapt, and that might be enough. Rian joined her, eyes reflecting the shimmering lights of the structures. "Do you think we can understand it?" he asked. Ilara looked out into the void, her voice steady. "We don't just understand it, we rise to meet it. That's what humans do." And somewhere in the darkness, the machine or mind watched, continuing its silent evaluation, as humans took their first real steps into a cosmic puzzle that could change everything. The deeper the fleet moved into the alien structures, the more Ilara realized that what they were witnessing was unlike anything humans had ever encountered. The halls of the massive towers pulsed with energy, flowing in patterns that shifted and adapted as the crew moved. It was not merely a machine. It was something alive in a sense humans could barely comprehend. Ryan Kepler's hands flew across the console as he analyzed the energy patterns. "Doctor, these signals, they're not just measurements. They're instructions. It's showing us how to manipulate matter and energy on an immense scale. This is technology older than any civilization we know." Ilara nodded slowly. "It's teaching us, but why? Why show humans this?" Ryan shook his head. "Maybe it's evaluating us, watching what we do with the knowledge it gives. Every choice, every calculation. It's a test." The crew moved cautiously through the corridors. Gravity shifted subtly. Lights bent around corners and energy currents swirled unpredictably. Every step required observation, teamwork, and ingenuity. Yet for all the challenges they moved forward, guided by curiosity and the thrill of discovery. Suddenly, a massive chamber opened before them. In its center floated a sphere of pure energy spinning slowly. Streams of light connected it to the walls of the room, forming a lattice that pulsed rhythmically. It was immense, almost overwhelming, yet beautiful in its symmetry. That's the heart of it," Rian whispered. "Whatever built this or is this, it channels energy through that core. It manipulates stars, planets, maybe entire systems." Ilara approached cautiously. "Can we communicate with it?" "Directly?" Ryan shook his head. "Not in words, but the energy flows. They respond to our movements, our presence. It's aware of us, learning from us, testing our reactions." The crew watched as the sphere pulsed in response to their experiments. They directed small bursts of energy, rearranged floating panels, and adjusted environmental controls. Each time the sphere reacted, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, showing patterns and responses they could only begin to understand. "This is incredible," Mara-Chen said softly. "It's observing, but it's also teaching. Whoever built this, they weren't just creating machines. They were creating minds." Alara's mind raced. Humanity had often imagined intelligence beyond their own, but this was not imagination. It was proof. A mind or minds capable of shaping stars, constructing impossible machines, and evaluating other civilizations. And now it had noticed humans. As the crew worked, the tower's system shifted again. Halls elongated, energy channels rearranged, and gravity subtly changed. The very structure seemed alive, adapting to the humans moving through it. The crew relied on teamwork, problem-solving, and courage to navigate these changes. They solved puzzles, adjusted energy flows, and demonstrated ingenuity that, apparently, the construct recognized. Ryan's console beeped urgently. "Doctor, I'm picking up another signal. Stronger than before. It's coming from outside the system." Alara frowned. "Outside? From where?" The reading showed something impossible. A massive energy construct moving toward the system. It was enormous, dwarfing even the collapsed star's remnants. Its surface shimmered with energy, almost transparent yet perfectly solid. It radiated power on a scale that made their fleet seem tiny, fragile. "It's approaching us," Ryan said, awe and fear in his voice. "And it's intelligent. It knows we're here." Alara tightened her grip on the railing. "Prepare the fleet for potential contact. Shields up, sensors at maximum." The massive construct halted near the remnants of the collapsed star, its energy flows aligning with the floating towers. Streams of light connected the alien structure and the construct, forming a web that pulsed in intricate patterns. It was almost like a conversation in a language humans could not yet understand. Ryan's voice was quiet. "Doctor, I think it's evaluating all life in the sector. Not just us, it's watching civilizations, seeing who can adapt, who can survive. And it notices humans." Alara's mind raced. Humanity had always believed itself small, fragile, and unimportant in the galaxy. Yet here, this immense intelligence had noticed them. Not for their strength, but for their creativity, curiosity, and courage. It was a recognition, a test, and perhaps an invitation all at once. The construct extended tendrils of energy toward the towers. The energy flowed into the systems, harmonizing with the structures humans had explored. The floating sphere in the central chamber brightened, responding in ways that suggested comprehension. The room itself seemed to hum with anticipation. Rian's eyes widened. "Doctor, it's reacting to our presence as a species. Our actions, our decisions. They matter," Alara nodded. "This is what I feared and hoped. Humans are being evaluated, but not as warriors, not as conquerors, as thinkers, as problem solvers, as a species that can rise to challenges and adapt to the unknown." A new signal appeared in the data streams, complex, intricate, almost musical in its structure. Ryan analyzed it quickly. It's a message encoded in energy. Not words, not even numbers, but logic, sequence, and structure. Whoever created this, it's offering us understanding. It's giving humans a way to communicate without language. Alara's eyes brightened. "We can respond then. Using the logic it shows us, we can demonstrate our intelligence, our creativity. That's how we prove ourselves." The crew began experimenting with the sphere, sending energy flows and manipulating patterns as the construct observed. They worked in unison, sharing ideas, solving problems, and learning from mistakes. Each success caused the sphere to pulse more brightly, sending feedback that felt almost like encouragement. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The humans were immersed in a dialogue they could not yet fully understand. A conversation of energy, light, and logic with a mind that had existed far longer than humanity. And through it, they began to see the purpose behind the star's collapse. "This was no accident," Alara said. "The star didn't die naturally. Someone or something used it as part of a test, a lesson, or perhaps an invitation, and we were meant to notice." Rian nodded. "It's evaluating species across the galaxy, and it recognizes humans as capable, curious, resilient." Alara looked at her crew. They were tired, awed, and determined. "We keep going. We show it what humans can do. Every decision, every act of ingenuity, every choice we make, it matters. As they continued their work, the construct shifted subtly. Tendrils of energy connected to each tower, and the collapsed star's remnants glowed with renewed light. It was as if the universe itself was acknowledging their presence, and humanity's courage and curiosity were being measured on a cosmic scale. Rian's voice broke the silence. "Doctor, it's responding to us. The way we work together, the way we adapt, it's reacting. It's alive in some sense, and it's recognizing humans as important." Alara smiled faintly. "That's what we've always been. Humans survive, humans adapt, humans think, and now we're part of something bigger than we ever imagined." The night passed in a blur of energy, observation, and study. Humans solved puzzles, rerouted energy flows, and navigated shifting corridors. The construct observed silently, evaluating their every move, learning their strengths, and perhaps understanding their limitations, as dawn or something like it. In the absence of true day, approached, Alara stood once more in the observation chamber. The collapsed star's light pulsed in harmony with the alien construct. The tower shimmered alive with energy, and somewhere far beyond comprehension, a mind older than humanity watched, listened, and learned. Rian approached quietly. "Do you think it's impressed?" Ilara's eyes remained on the energy lattice, and her voice was steady. "I don't know if it can feel as we do, but it has noticed us. That's enough. Humanity has a chance to rise to this moment, and we will." Somewhere in the darkness beyond, the construct shifted, almost imperceptibly. For the first time, it seemed aware that humans were more than observers. They were participants, capable of learning, adapting, and rising to challenges. And in that recognition, a new chapter in humanity's story began. The universe was no longer a distant stage. Humanity had stepped onto it, and the eyes of a vast ancient intelligence were watching. And somewhere deep within the energy flows, a silent message waited. The test had begun. The towers of the alien construct stretched into the void, glowing with energy that seemed almost alive. Humans had explored many corridors, solved complex puzzles, and demonstrated ingenuity. But now the challenges became more personal. The construct shifted subtly, presenting situations that tested not just skill but morality, teamwork, and decision-making under pressure. Ilara Voss stood at the bridge of the Odyssey, her mind racing. The data flowing from the towers was more complex than anything they had seen. "Ryan," she said, "this isn't just a test of knowledge. It's a test of who we are as humans." Rian Kepler nodded. "Yes, Doctor. Every scenario it presents forces choices, ethical dilemmas, and teamwork under stress. It's evaluating more than intelligence, it's evaluating character." The first trial appeared as a massive chamber filled with unstable energy cores, each threatening to erupt violently. The room shimmered with danger. The AI assistants warned that a miscalculation could destroy part of the structure, or the crew itself. "Engineers, we need a plan," Alara said, stepping forward. "We stabilize the cores without overloading them. Work together, coordinate every step. Communication is key." Malik Torres, the chief engineer, studied the energy streams. "We can reroute power gradually, but if one core overloads, it could cascade. Every action has consequences." The crew worked tirelessly, moving through shifting gravity fields, rerouting energy flows, and coordinating their movements. Every choice required careful thought, and mistakes were costly. Yet humans adapted, relying on intuition, teamwork, and determination. The cores stabilized one by one, and the construct pulsed in response, acknowledging their success without words. "This is more than technology," Mara Chen whispered. "It's teaching us responsibility, patience, and trust." Alara smiled faintly. "Exactly. Humans survive by thinking, cooperating, and caring for one another. That's what it's evaluating." No sooner had the first trial ended than the next began. The construct presented simulations of collapsing planets, unstable star systems, and endangered alien species. The humans faced choices that required quick thinking and ethical judgment. Rescue one and another might fall. Act too slowly and disaster could spread. Ryan frowned as he analyzed the simulations. "Doctor, every decision matters. It's observing how we balance logic, risk, and morality." Ilara's voice was steady. "Then we act with courage, wisdom, and care. That's what humans do. We don't just survive, we consider others and adapt." The crew moved quickly, deploying drones to stabilize collapsing planets, using energy manipulation techniques learned from the construct. and finding creative solutions for situations that seemed impossible. Every success brought them closer to understanding the alien mind, and every failure taught them how to approach problems differently. Hours passed, though it felt like days. The trials became increasingly complex, demanding ingenuity, teamwork, and moral judgment. The construct observed silently, pulsing in response to their actions. It seemed to measure not just intelligence but empathy, cooperation, and courage under pressure. One challenge required the crew to rescue a stranded alien species trapped on a planet with a destabilizing core. The rescue operation was delicate, too fast and the planet would collapse. Too cautious and the aliens could perish. Split teams, Ilara ordered. Ryan and the rescue drones, Malik and engineering support, Mara and the tactical team. We move now. The operation tested every skill the humans had learned. They synchronized energy shields, recalibrated drone algorithms, and adjusted gravity fields to keep the aliens safe. The moment the last alien was brought aboard the ship, the planet stabilized and the construct pulsed with acknowledgement once again. Rian exhaled heavily. Doctor, it's reacting positively. It recognizes our ethics, our care for life, and our ability to solve problems under pressure. Ilara nodded. We've always been a species that adapts. That's what makes humans stand out. We think, we care, we act, and now, the construct sees it. The final trial began with a simulation of an unstable star cluster, where energy flows threatened to destroy everything nearby. The humans had to redirect the energy safely, using methods they had learned and applying creativity to solve unprecedented problems. Every choice, every adjustment carried enormous consequences. The fleet worked as one, human ingenuity and teamwork at its peak. Engineers calculated energy reroutes, navigators adjusted trajectories through the shifting fields, and scientists decoded the construct's energy patterns in real time. It was a symphony of human skill, courage, and intelligence. As the last energy flow stabilized, the construct pulsed with a brilliance that filled the chamber. The humans had passed the ultimate test. They had demonstrated resilience, ingenuity, morality, and courage, all qualities the construct had been observing. Rian turned to Ilara, eyes shining. Dr. Ian, we did it. The trials are complete. Humanity has proven itself worthy. Ilara felt a wave of pride. Not just us. All of humanity. We faced the unknown, adapted and shown courage and ingenuity. That's what makes us remarkable. The construct's energy shifted, forming a gateway, larger and more complex than any they had seen before. It pulsed with light and possibility. A message formed in the patterns, understood through the logic and sequences they had learned. Humans. Observed humans? Capable, proceed, if willing. Ilara looked at her crew. This is our choice. We can step forward into the unknown, into a galaxy filled with challenges, wonders, and mysteries. And we will do it together. The fleet approached the gateway carefully, each ship aligning with precision. The energy of the construct flowed through the towers, harmonizing with the fleet as if acknowledging their readiness. Ryan studied the readings. Doctor, this is more than recognition. It's an invitation. The galaxy is open to us and it's asking humanity to participate. Ilara's voice was steady, filled with determination. Then we go. Humanity has always faced the unknown and we always rise. This is our moment. As the first ship entered the gateway, the energy shimmered around them, bending space and time in ways humans had never experienced. The others followed one by one until the entire fleet had passed through. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, new systems and civilizations appearing in dazzling arrays. The humans saw planets with strange ecosystems, alien species communicating in ways they could barely comprehend, and technologies that seemed impossible. And yet they had passed the construct's test. They were worthy participants, capable of understanding and contributing to the galaxy. Ilara looked at her crew, each exhausted but triumphant. This is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, filled with challenges and opportunities, and humanity will face them all with courage, creativity, and ingenuity. Ryan nodded. We've been recognized, Doctor. We belong here. Ilara smiled, feeling the weight and the thrill of the moment. Humanity had stepped onto a stage far larger than any they had imagined. Their curiosity, courage, and teamwork had carried them farther than any starship could. And somewhere, far beyond comprehension, the construct pulsed once more, sending a silent acknowledgement. Humans, Worthy. The galaxy awaits. The fleet continued its journey, exploring, learning, and participating in a universe that was no longer distant and mysterious. Humans had proven themselves, not through strength, conquest, or dominance, but through ingenuity, courage, and care. And in doing so, they had opened a door to infinite possibilities. Ilara stood at the observation deck of the Odyssey, gazing at the stars. The collapsed star, the alien towers, the tests, and the gateway had all been steps toward this moment. Humanity had been observed, tested, and recognized. "This is the moment we've been waiting for," she whispered. "Humanity has risen, and now the universe is ours to explore, understand, and shape." Ryan joined her, watching the stars stretch into infinity. "And we won't waste it, Doctor. Humanity will rise to every challenge." Ilara nodded. The trials had ended, but the adventure was just beginning. Humanity had proven itself to the universe, and now, the stars themselves awaited their story. And somewhere beyond all comprehension, the construct pulsed again, a silent witness to the rise of a species that had faced the unknown and proven that courage, ingenuity, and heart were the true measures of worth. The gateway shimmered ahead, a vast arch of energy suspended in the void like a tear in the fabric of space. The fleet had navigated countless hazards, deciphered energy flows, and learned to work with the alien construct. Yet nothing had prepared them for the sight of the gateway itself, a bridge between human knowledge and the vast expanse of the galaxy beyond. Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, gazing at the rippling doorway of light. Around her, the crew prepared the ships for the jump. Their hearts raced, not with fear, but with anticipation. Humanity had stepped far beyond observation. Now, they were about to step into the unknown. Ryan Kepler approached, holding a display of the gateway's energy signature. "Doctor, the construct's tests are complete. It recognizes our adaptability, our courage, and our ability to work together. This is the reward, or perhaps the next challenge." Ilara nodded. "Whatever it is, humanity will meet it. We've come this far, and we will continue." The fleet moved forward, each ship entering the gateway one by one. The stars outside stretched and twisted, transforming into rivers of light. Gravity, time, and space itself seemed to bend as the human vessels passed into the new dimension. It was a journey unlike any other, both terrifying and beautiful. When they emerged, the fleet drifted in a place that defied comprehension. Stars glimmered in clusters of unimaginable size. Colors beyond the human visible spectrum stretched across the sky, and colossal structures floated in orbit around strange worlds. Some were natural, formed from planets and gas giants, while others were artificial, impossibly intricate and humming with energy. This is the galactic stage," Ryan whispered. "We're not in human space anymore. We're somewhere else, somewhere ancient." Ilara's eyes scanned the vastness. "And every species here, every intelligence, is part of it. The construct brought us to witness the scale of the galaxy, and maybe it wants us to participate." The alien construct appeared again, hovering nearby like a living constellation. Its surface shimmered and shifted, pulsing in patterns that were almost conversational. Ilara realized that the construct was no longer just an observer. It was a guide, showing humanity what it could achieve, what it could face, and how it could interact with the greater universe. A message appeared in the energy flows, translated through their understanding of the construct's logic. "Humans," observed, "humans. Capable, proceed, if worthy." Ilara looked at her crew. "We've always been judged by our actions, by our decisions, by our courage, and now we will show that humanity is worthy." The first task presented itself almost immediately. A nearby planet was destabilizing. Its core was unstable, threatening to collapse and destroy everything in orbit. The fleet could intervene, but the operation would be dangerous. Every choice mattered. Too fast, and they risked disaster. Too slow, and the planet would be lost. Ilara made her decision. "Prepare the stabilization team. Ryan, calculate the safest approach. Mara Malik, ready the engineering units. We move now." The ships descended toward the planet. Energy shields glowed as they entered the atmosphere, while human engineers coordinated complex operations, using knowledge gleaned from the construct's teachings. The crew rerouted energy, stabilized the core, and repaired the natural flow of matter. The planet trembled under their hands, but humanity's ingenuity and courage prevailed. As the planet stabilized, the construct pulsed with approval. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but the crew felt it. A recognition that their actions mattered, that their decisions were being acknowledged. "Doctor," Ryan said, awed, "we're not just surviving. We're contributing. The construct is testing not just intelligence, but ethics, teamwork, and courage. Humanity is proving itself," Alara smiled. "This is what makes us human. We act, we adapt, and we care. And that is what matters in this galaxy." The gateway led them further into the cosmic expanse. They witnessed civilizations that had risen and fallen, stars that burned with strange patterns, and worlds with technologies that made human achievements seem small in comparison. Yet even here humanity held its place. They were adaptable, creative, and brave. That had always been enough. Suddenly the fleet encountered another test. A massive asteroid field moved in perfect synchronization, a labyrinth designed to challenge navigation and coordination. The fleet could not simply fly through. It had to work together, coordinating movements, adjusting shields, and rerouting energy in real time. Alara's orders were precise. Form a chain, follow each ship's lead, adjust constantly. Every crew must communicate. For hours the fleet maneuvered through the field. One wrong move could destroy a ship, yet every member acted with focus, creativity, and courage. They solved problems on the fly, adapting to changes and working as a single entity, and as they emerged from the other side, the construct pulsed again, stronger this time. Approval, recognition. Humanity had proven itself. Ryan leaned on the console, exhausted but exhilarated. "Doctor, we did it. Every problem, every danger. We adapted. We survived. And the construct recognizes it." Alara nodded. "It's not just survival, Ryan, it's ingenuity, courage, and empathy. That's what makes humans stand out. That's what makes us remarkable." The fleet continued exploring new systems, encountering phenomena and civilizations that tested every skill they had. They repaired collapsing planets, guided wandering starships, and solved cosmic puzzles that no human had ever imagined. And everywhere the construct observed, teaching, testing, and recognizing their efforts. Finally, the fleet arrived at a system unlike any other. In its center floated a star of pure energy, surrounded by orbiting structures that radiated intelligence. The construct moved alongside it, pulsing, and the energy flows formed a message. "Humans, worthy. Participate. Shape your destiny." Alara felt a rush of emotion. Humanity had been small, fragile, and limited. But here among the stars they had risen. Curiosity, courage, and ingenuity had carried them farther than anyone could have imagined. And now the universe itself was acknowledging them. Ryan smiled. "Doctor, we did it. Humanity is recognized." Alara looked at her crew, each exhausted, each awed, yet each proud. "Not just us," she said softly. "All of humanity. This is what we've always been capable of. And this is only the beginning." As they gazed out at the cosmic wonders, Alara realized that the collapsed star, the mysterious tests, the alien construct, had all been a spark. A spark to show humanity its place in the universe. A challenge, yes, but also an invitation. Somewhere deep in the galaxy, civilizations older and wiser than humans watched silently. And somewhere the construct continued its observation not as a judge but as a witness. Humanity had proven itself, not through strength or firepower, but through ingenuity, courage, and empathy. Alara stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, looking at the stars stretching into infinity. "We have a chance," she said quietly. "A chance to explore, to learn, to grow. And to show the galaxy who we really are," Ryan joined her. "And we won't waste it." The fleet moved forward, stepping into a future where humanity was no longer an observer. They were participants, explorers, problem solvers, and thinkers. Every challenge ahead would test them, but the same qualities that had carried them through the collapsed star, the alien towers, and the cosmic trials would guide them. Alara felt a surge of pride. Humanity had risen to the test, proving that intelligence, courage, and creativity mattered in the universe. And as the fleet ventured into the unknown, the stars themselves seemed to shimmer in acknowledgement. The story of the collapsed star was only the beginning. Humanity had taken its first real step onto the galactic stage, and the possibilities were endless, and somewhere, far beyond comprehension, the construct pulsed once more, sending a silent signal. "Humans, worthy. The galaxy awaits."